I have with me Jane Ekayu and Winnie Adong, a survivor activist and survivor from Northern Uganda. And it is a pleasure to speak to both of you. We want to hear from you directly concerning the question of survivor access to justice and survivor involvement in justice processes. Jane, I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself and to tell us a little bit about your work in Uganda with survivors.
Thank you so much. My name is Jane Ekayu. I am a survivor activist in Uganda, and I have been working with the young people, children, and women who have survived war. And I worked in a rehabilitation center for 3 years, 2004, 2006, in northern Uganda, as the former child soldiers were being rescued from the LRA rebels. And that involved counseling them, taking them through trauma therapy, taking them through family tracing, and follow up to help in the rehabilitation process. And later in 2010, I started an organization. I founded a nonprofit organization that I have been working with to date, Children of Peace Uganda. And I focused so much in the post-war rehabilitation of these young people, which included a trauma therapy. It included family reconciliation, community reconciliations, education placement and sponsorship for some of them, and skilling, and then empowerment and livelihood empowerment for the different households, where the most of the neediest of the children and the youth that have survived the war are involved. And to date, we continue with advocacy on the justice process that hasn't been achieved yet, in both within the communities and also in the country and at the international arena. I've had opportunity to speak at the UN General Assembly, at the Hague, at the ICC, and different universities, including the Harvard University, on the need for the justice process for the survivors. And even with all that done, it's like been a drop in the sea, because we haven't achieved the justice yet for the survivors in northern Uganda. So I continue to be.
Thank you very much, Jane. And I wonder, Winnie, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Adong Winnie. I'm from Teso region. I happen to be the survivor of the LRA. I was abducted from school, the school called Luala Girls Secondary School, whereby I stayed in the bush for 1 year. But when I was there in the bush, I was tortured. I returned home I was shot. And right now I still have a challenge is like I need medical support. Sometimes I still face the stigma in the community. And I'm so grateful to meet you. As Jane said, I passed through her hands, because when I returned, I was taken to Raquel Rehabilitation Center, so she nursed me as a mother. So that's why even you phone us together, because she helped me a lot. And even like when I got well, she's the one who took me back to my parents.
Yes. So Winnie, tell me, you've had this experience of having been abducted, and you're now returned. And there has been a lot of discussion about justice. But what does justice mean for you as a former abductee, as a survivor?
For me, justice means to me, first of all, one, like when I'm compensated, when I'm receiving like medical support, because when I returned, I went back to school, but I haven't gotten a job. So sometimes when my arm pain, I'm not able to get a treatment like that. And then also justice means to me like when maybe when I'm empowered economically, whereby I'll be able to maybe look for my money. But when those things are not there, I see like I've not yet gotten justice. And then also they need to like to reunite us to our community, because we still have face the challenges of stigma. Still they call us the names, they call what. So we find that recalls, reminds us what we went through.
Yes. And Jane, you've dealt with other survivors and you are aware of justice processes and what other survivors may have, what their feelings might be about accessing justice in Uganda. Can you share with us the thoughts about that?
Yes, I have worked with the survivors for the last 19 years now. The survivors have not been able to access justice that in the way that it should be, because the empowerment, the trauma therapy that they should have received, that helps the healing, because the healing should begin with an individual. It hasn't taken place. There are just a handful who have received that. And the skilling aspect of it hasn't, just a handful of them that have been able to get the skilling that will help them for self-empowerment. That hasn't taken place. The level of stigma is still very high in the communities, including even in their own homes and every other setting. So what most of the survivors try to do is not speak out. They are not able to speak out, the challenges they are going through, even as the survivors, because of the high levels of stigma. There has not been a deliberate move, a deliberate strategy for empowerment of the survivors. It's not there yet. And then we have the issue of the children who were born of rape, the children born of war to these young girls. Remember, they were given out as sex slaves, to the LRA commanders. And the girls are not empowered themselves. They missed out, in the crucial empowerment that they should have received as children through education. And they have returned with the children. I work with some of them who returned even up to 4 children. Now, they missed out in education themselves, the survivors, and that means they have not been able to take care of their children because they don't have an economic empowerment. And that still stands out to be a huge challenge. We also have the challenge of paternal identity of the children that were born in the LRA captivity. Some of the children have grown up. Some of them are even youth. And they're beginning to ask the mothers, who is my father? Because this has been thrown to them by the community. And the mothers, these young mothers who are the survivors of war, have not been empowered to be able to tell the children who their biological fathers are without, affecting them, affecting either side, either the mother or the child, because information has to be packaged. Now, these mothers will need to be empowered to know how much information do you give this child at what age, about the biological, the paternal side of their fathers, and they have to, without destroying them, because the children definitely have to be told in the right way that nobody chooses a father. All of us are born, whether your father is the president of a given country or is the most wanted criminal. We have no choice over that, And how do we help the mothers? The mothers then need to be helped even after they have relived this experience, this very bad experience, that they don't break down, from it. So that has to be worked on. So to me, that would be the justice that I would want to see, that they want to see. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jane. Thank you, Winnie. I do know that there is a transitional justice process in Uganda. And I would like to just ask Winnie, what do you think needs to be done to ensure that survivors are meaningfully involved?
Okay, to me, I wanted, like, if there's going to be a justice process, victims, the survivors needs to be involved. They should be the key people to lead. Because I remember when we returned, we were exploited by some organizations, so we don't want to have that one to happen. We want, like, if there's justice process, we need ourselves to be the ones to lead.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much again for your time.